because I put it all in capitals, by the way, so just go back and edit the live stream title for me. But we've got started. So welcome everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn for Breakfast, our new time zone. So if you're beaming in from Europe, this is kind of 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hope you've had a lovely lunch and a lovely day. If you're coming in from across the pond or even the Caribbean, as we've had already in the chat, good morning. Let me brighten up. It is actually breakfast for you. So here's a little slice of LinkedIn for you. So before we get started on any of these calls, I'd like to kind of give you a bit of a flavor of why we have all gathered here and what is our mission. Because without knowing kind of why we do this, then it'll give you a nice sort of insight into us. And how we roll. Okay, so what makes a great LinkedIn post is our title today, but our mission here, our mission at LinkedIn for Breakfast, is to really help you to unlock the full potential of LinkedIn as a powerful tool for two things really. One is around the whole kind of business development, getting the phone ringing, inbox pinging with inquiries. We want those leads. So that's going to give you the return on investment from your time. But the second thing is around brand expansion. So can you be more recognized? Do people go, oh, yeah, I know that guy. He's the one that talks about X, Y, and Z. That's what we want. And LinkedIn is a wonderful platform to do that. It is the world's biggest, largest professional network, and we should harness this. And if you are tucking into this, guys, I'm telling you what, we are on an upward trajectory. LinkedIn is really coming of age. And if you can get in there with the stuff we talk about now, it will yield for you in the future as more and more people flock to the platform each month. It's a growing network and you guys are all part of it. So welcome to LinkedIn for Breakfast. That's our mission. And our vision here is to make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. And we really want to fulfill on that. So the more that you can tell people to bring them along, the great, the more you can also give us feedback and things that we can change to make it better, then we will do, like changing this time zone so more people can turn up to the live session from across the globe. And so we do a lot of this. We house this in our free school community. And in this school community, Flora's probably put in the link in for you to go click in the comments now. And you should be able to click on it and join. As I said, it's totally for free. And you'll be able to see not just a place where we promote and share the replays from this stuff and swipe files and the slide deck as well. And there'll be some slides here that I'm sure you'd be interested in, and particularly some of the infographics I'm going to show you later on the new LinkedIn algorithm updates. Oh, that'd be fun. But also there is a number of free training courses, things like a 4-day Make Sales from LinkedIn challenge or a 4-day go live every day challenge on here. And there's a number of other things like a deep training or sales navigator, how to set up LinkedIn newsletters. There's a ton of content in here that you can get your teeth into. Plus, we do a LinkedIn pod where we help like and share your post every single week. And you see here, we're doing one here. We do one for B2C and B to small business. That's the SB here. And you see 532 people. And that's where people share their links and they get likes and comments. You can see here sharing links, likes and comments, sharing links, likes and comments. This is a really nice way to get help and a little bit of a leg up in terms of the amount of people seeing your content. And then on Friday, we do a community corner where we'll ask you a question and you can share like what you're listening to at the moment, share us the website, your website link, or share us your LinkedIn profile or share your LinkedIn newsletter. And the idea of the community then starts to help and register and see who else is there and helps the networking. So that is the game plan. Please do jump into that because it's a lot of fun. Great. So let's get into the content for today. So our agenda is to kind of review the algorithm changes and keep abreast of what's working and what is not on LinkedIn. And then we want to kind of come up with some starting ideas on what makes a great LinkedIn post. And actually, I may well even throw ourselves into a bit of a breakout room just to share a few ideas and bring them back to the table as well in terms of what you think's working. And we might do that if we got the time at the end. That's the game plan. And we want to really bring back some nice ideas for you to be able to share. And practical things. That's what we like to do here. Cool. So why my friends post on LinkedIn? Well, I don't know if you guys have actually gone into the feed recently and done a little bit of a scroll test. And the challenge that we have when it comes to posting, and of course, the reason why you post is you want to see your content, you want people to look at you, you want to actually get more momentum in your marketing, you want people to see your thought leadership, become part of your network, and see you as that thought leader, right? But have you done the scroll test on LinkedIn? So if we go onto LinkedIn now and actually have a look and just go, let me just open up the feed in a new tab and just show you a typical scroll, right? And you'll be surprised to know that if you are posting and you are trying to get into this feed, you'll be up against quite a few things that aren't even posts. So if we look here and we look at this one, right? So first of all, you can see here that this is my first degree connection, someone I'm connected with, and they're sharing a video. Great. Worked really well. Obviously, Christian's getting some nice and comments and likes here. Fantastic. Okay, so this is the sort of post that's doing well. Obviously, it's kind of a bit viral. So one post from my social, from my network. The second post LinkedIn serves me is an ad. You can see here promoted, right? So we've had one post from my first degrees and one ad so far, right? So it's 50% of the things that I'm seeing are adverts, right? We then scroll down here and we've got another post by my first degree connection. Great. So that tips the balance. So that's the 3-1. But then there's a suggested for you for news, right? So this is not a post. This is just LinkedIn suggesting stuff. So again, that's not a post from my first degree connections. So that's 2 all, right? 4 posts, 2 are none from my first degree connections, right? Then the fifth one here is actually LinkedIn trying to promote some sort of weird learning course that's a popular course. So now the balance is tipped away from actually being content from my first degree connections. So we got a 3-2. Feels like some sort of football result here. So we got a 3-2 in favor of LinkedIn trying to push us somewhere outside of our first degree connections. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is the flip side is your network. You've got to really get your teeth into them and you've got to be the person that sits in front. Now, I've got over 15,000, 16,000 connections. So at the moment, I've seen 5 posts and only 2 of those 15,000 have got their stuff into my feed. That's interesting. And of course, why have they got their stuff into my feed? Let me just recap here. Is because Liz here, who's another first degree connection, commented on this person who's a first degree connection. So not only did that post have to also be commented by my connections, that was the reason why Christian's post was put up, right? And then the second one now, this one was Lumi, who I think is a connection of mine. I presume she is. Loves this, so she gave the little heart figure, like the like button, but a heart in here. So you can see this heart here. She loved it, and that's why this post got up. And of course, this has got 26 loves and 41 comments. So a well liked post. Interesting, right? And so we go down again. Now we're going to even the balance, 3 all. But again, Justin liked this in the first degree. And then we go down and we've got another ad. So can you see what's happening here? Is about 50% of your feed is actually not your first degree connections. So when you think about trying to get your content seen on LinkedIn, you are actually not just fighting against the other connections of your target audience, but you are also fighting LinkedIn's serving up ads and different things and job adverts and training courses on top of this. So I want to show you why thinking about what you're posting and also being more consistent with your posting is vital. So I want to arm you with the tools to be like Christian or to be like Dean, who's actually got into my feed. Because the more that you get into someone's feed, the more likely it is that you're going to engage. And actually, these are quite interesting posts, aren't they? They're nice posts. There's some stuff that's going on to it. There's nothing boring going on here. The feed is actually quite exciting. You can see here. So the average bog standard post is not really going to cut it. So creates the need for what we're going to talk about. So how does LinkedIn help us? And how do we tackle this problem? How do we tackle the credibility problem of getting into people's feeds? Well, LinkedIn actually scores us. It gives us a rating. We actually can find out what LinkedIn sees when they look at our profile. There is something called an SSI score, a social selling index. And a lot of people don't actually think about this when it comes to trying to get into people's feeds. But I can tell you this, the most credible people on LinkedIn are most likely to get into that feed because LinkedIn wants to serve stuff that is relevant to you, that they feel is credible and is going to keep you on the platform, keep you scrolling because of course LinkedIn share price is going to go up based upon linger time and the more time you spend on the platform. So it's kind of the algorithm's trying to hook you to do that. So if you can raise your SSI score, that makes you more credible. The more credible you are, the more likely you are to be above the rest of your competition for the attention of your connections. You follow me? So I'd love you all to actually have a little play with this and find out what your SSI score is. So here's the link. I'm going to put it, oh, hello, into the chat here. You can just Google if you haven't got this link or you can't get into the chat, just, what is my SSI? You need to be logged into LinkedIn. And if you click on this link here, it will take you into a place where you can actually see your SSI score, right? So I'm just following exactly my own instructions. So hopefully it won't break and I'll look silly in front of all you lovely people. But it then will pop up. Now it's actually it's a Sales Navigator tool, but you don't need to be paying for Sales Navigator to get it. So don't worry about that part. And it will present a page that will look like this, and it will tell you where in your industry do you rank. So me being a top 1% in my industry, that's the leg up. That's the piece that I am a top account. So therefore it's going to help me when I'm trying to get my posts up. Now the post itself has got to be good. We're going to cover that later, but I'm ticking the is Richard credible box beforehand, right? And then also in my network, I'm in the top 4% in the people I'm connected with as well. Now this is good, but also I think it's also positive to be connected with people who are have an even better score than you or who have bigger accounts than you because of course I think that being connected with other influencers is a leg up piece as well. So don't get too concerned if your network is actually quality because that's not too much of a problem. It's then looking at where your score comes in and where you can actually grow a bit. So you can see here, you've got these little question marks next to each one of these. So establish your personal brand. So you can complete your profile with a customer in mind. So thinking about who you're trying to target and become a thought leader for those type of people. That's very much relevant today when we talk about posting. Finding the right people, making sure that when you're connecting and you're searching, they're actually connecting back with you as well. So trying to make sure that you get a high connection score. And these are difficult, by the way. These, obviously I do a lot of LinkedIn, and I'm only scoring 69 out of 100, right? So, transparency, these things are not easy to push. And when you are doing certain types of campaigns, so for example, we're sending 100 connection requests a week out, that's going to actually probably in terms of score, if they're not all saying yes to those connections and we are targeting people that don't know us, then that might be detrimental, right? So it is kind of you want to be conscious of it, but also you don't want to let it stand in your way of progress because I'd rather be connected with lots of people than worried so much about having 100% on these things. And so you've got these different scores that you can work through and build out a little bit of information about where you are and also where the people in your industry stand is average 35 out of 100 and the people in my network average is 48 out of 100. So it also allows you to benchmark actually you're not doing so badly against this. So a bit of fun. And thank you, Peter and Candice, for doing this already. And Candice says 2 weeks of LinkedIn for breakfast, Tuesday mornings, post-a-thon, and we're going up, she's saying. I love it. So do just put into the chat, what is your score? Let's have a look in there. I bet there'll be plenty of people that will be better than mine. Go on, who's going to hit better than 69? Here's the competition. We love it. So. Good stuff. There you go. Go on, Gary Neville. He wins. Gary Neville wins the prize. Well done. 73. Fantastic. Good work. So really cool, right? And worth doing. Now that shows you and gives you a marker. If you actually make a note today of where you are, then through doing some of this, does that actually start to grow? Do you move it in the right direction? Love it. Good stuff. So make sure that you go through this and actually have a little work through and work out where you are. Next piece, let's talk about the algorithm. So I share this post all the time, and I've actually got a secondary post for you to look at in terms of algorithm changes. Now, back back a while ago, we produced, or we didn't produce, Richard Van Bloom produced this based upon an interview that LinkedIn did about its algorithm. It's very different, very difficult to actually get any information from any of the social networks on how the algorithm based. But in this podcast, they spoke very openly about how that algorithm works, and this infographic was put together. Now, this infographic is probably a year and a half old, but very relevant still today. But I've actually got an updated one from you. But I just wanted to sort of show you the base pieces that were in here. So thinking about things like tags and consistency and selfies were being talked about in here. Some really nice posting strategies, but there's a lot here. Now I'm going to give these slides to you so you can go through them in your own time, but I wanted to show you this, right? So this references right at the bottom that Richard Van Bloom piece that I talked about, and MJ here posted this out, and he was talking about the key ingredients, and he had read this 123 page LinkedIn research report, and there's another 30-page update. And the reason why I'm showing you this is just shows the level of analysis that was done, and so basically showing you the working of the next slide I'm going to show you. So there was a load of different analysis done on posts, and that's what has been summed up into this report, right? Which I'm going to work through with you slowly. So how it can work. So one of the key things that came about through this research and this evolution of analyzing the algorithm is post schedulers, top left, is not working. Please don't use post schedulers. And in fact, the only post scheduling that we recommend to clients at the moment is if they want to use it for their company pages, just to keep the company page feed warm. Why do I say that? Because your LinkedIn profile, you probably have a few thousand connections, and that's the thing, people by people. And in this small business market that most of you are in, it's you that's going to be the one that's going to be doing the connecting and the outreach, etc. And your company, people will check out on LinkedIn occasionally, and you may have 100, 200 likes. It's good to have some posts on there, and so a scheduler could be fine for that. But your personal profile, please post the posts through LinkedIn, because your reach using a scheduler and therefore the subsequent engagement will be far less. And as we've shown through the scroll test, super important to make sure that each post is really well looked after. Otherwise, you're just not going to get any of that throughput. Okay, so don't use schedulers. Let's go down to commenting. So this commenting, when you have this, it's all about kind of replying to all posts and comments within an hour, can really help you to increase the reach by 40%. And that's the analysis that has been shown. And the asterisk is referencing the algorithm updates reports that he's gone through. The comment for 30 plus minutes per day. Now, we actually have a kind of suggested pattern. So if you are going to be operating in our pods when you're posting, and if you are going to be working, say, half an hour on LinkedIn, we would recommend you kind of do this before and after model. And I just want to draw it out for you guys. It doesn't take me long to go onto a whiteboard. I love scribbling for you. So if you're going to spend time on LinkedIn and you are going to post, and say you post here, and you're going to put your post out here. Oh, crikey, sorry, bit of a wobbly line. Put together 15 minutes either side, right? So you're going to do 15 minutes and 15 minutes. Oh, hello. There you go. I need a license for this thing. And then this is when you post, right? So when you're thinking about doing this, this is a block where you're doing the commenting, you're going to do liking, you're doing sharing of posts, and you go in. So when you're doing this, you want to really think about the commenting strategy, right? So if you're working in a pod, for example, and what I mean by pod is where you're all going onto a feed, you're posting, and then you're liking and commenting on people's posts. What I would do is spend your time liking and commenting, sharing, maybe send some connection requests, maybe do some other activity in this 15 minutes on LinkedIn. That shows LinkedIn you're in and you're engaged and you're working. Then post and put your post out. Then I would spend 15 minutes commenting back on other people's comments, liking what they're saying, DMing people afterwards. So then you're looking after your post. So you're doing some pre-work. So you're not just posting and going, but you're doing some pre-work, and you're working through, and maybe you're doing your 20 connection requests, etc. Then you post, then you do the take care of your LinkedIn profile, and then that becomes the perfect 30 minutes on LinkedIn. That will really help. And it doesn't matter if it looks like the previous algorithm changes infographic or the one that I'm presenting now. Both of those reference that type of model. And so that's a really nice, easy way of kind of thinking about it, right? Use call to actions to encourage comments on your post. So one of the big things that works is getting comments, and those comments, as you can see, was XYZ person has commented on this post. That was one of the social proofs that LinkedIn used to help to promote the fact that you should read that piece of content. And so if you can actually encourage people to do that, then that can work. So maybe one of your call to actions could be comment swipe below and I'll send you the swipe file. That's a really nice one and also good for lead generation. Another one could be, I think this, but actually would love to know what your thoughts are in the chat, you know? Or if you are a X, then say X in the chat. If you're a Y, say Y in the chat, whatever it is. But the post, if it could have that, it could work really well. Cool. And use pinned comments on your own posts, right? So that's one of the things that you don't think about enough. But actually, if you've got a nice few posts and one of them is really relevant, pin it and then reply to it and then see other people reply to it and then you reply back to it. So you almost make like a sub conversation happening within the feed. Also think about things like the format of your post. I really love this because I'm a visual person, right? So look at this. So it's so true. When you can see a nice post that's sort of got some bullet points in there and it feels easy to scan, super easy. If it's just a big like, I'm a block of text, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? It's hard to you to approach. So really do think about using what is called white space. That's the space that has nothing in it. And actually that's a benefit when you're scanning with your eyes and actually thinking about the bullet points. Now, AI tools can be the things that can help you with this. So if you can push that through your content through AI tools, that could be great. Now, here's the caveat: it's getting so much better at seeing the bland, crappy, in a tough business world where the kind of classic AI written content or the AI written content with the dashes, dashes everywhere. Crikey, it's like Christmas dashes through the snow. There's so many dashes on all content. You just know it's AI written. So really think about that. But of course, the AI tools can help you. There's a number in there, and things like it's not just the written ones, but things like Canva in there that can really help with the carousels, which is one of the points that comes in later. Post timing I thought was quite interesting. So text only kind of content is talking about Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. So that's quite interesting in terms of post timing, in terms of the appropriate time to do it. Text plus image, again, Monday to Friday, but earlier, so 8 till 10:30 a.m. So it's sort of morning ones. I thought that was quite fascinating actually. And actually you'll learn from this that text only stuff is probably not the best format anyway. So really that text and image. But the personal story you can post at weekends and it can do really well. And certainly you'll see that with the examples I'm going to give you. Just a little one in terms of how people are accessing it. 88% of people using the phones. That's not kind of uncommon. I think that's probably less percentage-wise than say Instagram or what have you. So the other social networks probably are even more than that these days. But yeah, I think we can probably do that. Short sentences, right? So this is not long rambling sentence. This is short, concise. I think that works well with the post formats as well. We are scanning. You've got a short attention span on LinkedIn. So really think about those scanning. And I'm just going to just to save us from going through every single piece, I'll just kind of work through a couple of extra highlights here. Carousels, like if you haven't done a carousel yet, I would say go onto Canva, type in LinkedIn carousels, and it will create a carousel for you. they work really, really well. Sort of six slides working. And it's now saying, which I think is quite interesting, avoid hashtags, which is interesting. Avoid tagging other people and avoid posting more than once a day and avoid links in your post. They are some very interesting thoughts. Now, the links in post, I've always agreed that you shouldn't do that unless you're linking to other LinkedIn content, so you're keeping people in the walled garden. But the kind of move away from hashtags is very interesting, actually. That we're kind of moving away from that. So I'd be interested to see what people's thoughts are on that, especially when we do the breakout rooms. Tagging other people in it. Now, if you tag people into a post, actually it can have a positive effect if they reply back in the comments. But if they don't reply back in the comments, it can have a negative effect. So just be more conscious of that. And posting more than once a day. So that's also quite interesting. We see people who don't have a massive lag problem if they're doing a couple of times a day. But that's the kind of go-to. So some interesting ideas there. There's a few comments that are starting to happen in there. Jim Robinson actually backs up the don't use schedulers. He said that he started using Buffer 2 weeks ago and his reach has bombed. So true, right? So that's so true. Gary's making a point, you could probably still use LinkedIn scheduler, so you can actually schedule a post within LinkedIn, but don't use an actual third-party scheduler. So if you want to schedule, do schedule within LinkedIn. Great. So let's move on. So let me just sort of show you when you get this right. So here's a post I put out recently, 71,500 impressions. And so when you get this right, um, it's really interesting to show you this because I want to show you the analytics side of this post. And so I put a post out with a hook. That was one of the things. Paid 102 salaries today, right? Still feels surreal considering there's just three of us 13 months ago, right? So that's the hook. And I'm talking about our business growing. And it's nice. It's got a nice format, some bullet points, some advice in there. It's not too long. It's easy to scan. Works really well, and it got a call to action at the end. Works the type of post, hook, structure, everything works really nicely. Then a selfie, and so selfie is one of those things that works well. In fact, actually, I think there was something on selfies here. Yeah, here you go, visuals. So choose a relevant image can boost 20 to 15 to 20%, and even more with a relevant selfie, 30%. Now, I know that we kind of see selfies all the time on LinkedIn, but do you know what? They work and they really have to be taken accounted for. So that was just me having lunch. The irony was that was me just having lunch, not even on the day that I posted that. But you just have a few of these photos that are in your logbook, and when you're ready, you just use those. But the output was all this reach and engagement and some really nice comments and likes, of which you can see here, I'm commenting back to all of them. Now, it's very difficult to come back straight away to everybody, but just make sure you keep on top of it when you can. Try and obviously comment back to everybody straight away, but when a post starts to go viral, then it will keep on coming, which is lovely. Now, I want to show you these analytics because this is the kind of key piece of the return on investment from you from one post, right? So you can see here we've got 71,000 impressions, great, and 46,000 members reached, so that's 46 people. But here you go. So profile views from this post was 1,418. Now, that's if you're a website landing page and you get 1,500 people hitting the landing page, and your landing page is set up for conversion, and we actually do talk about your profile is a landing page, and you've got some call to actions on it, and you've got resources that people can jump on, then that traffic you should be able to convert into further things. And one of those, for example, is follower gains. Actually, I'll cover one of those also is the button you put on, which we'll talk about in a second. But you can see here that post in itself gained 50 followers just that one post gained 50 followers. That's decent, right? So people now wanting to see more, right? Obviously, there's some nice reactions and some comments, etc. But here's the thing that I wanted to show you, right? Because I'm on Premium, LinkedIn Premium, it gives me the button at the top of my profile. The reason why that button is important is if I just go back to the post, it sits underneath my name here. You can see here. So view my newsletter, or you could have book an appointment there. You can have visit my website. On your profile page, you can actually change and make a decision on which one of those you want. So from my perspective, I had 50 people then click view my newsletter, which then allowed me to then see that I would receive 50 odd leads. And I can then message those people who subscribe to my newsletter and say, hey, thanks for subscribing to it, your house things, and I can start the conversation with them. That then allows me to transition them through from just being aware of my post to reading and then going on and subscribing to me, and then me messaging them, and then I can draw them on to come to this event or go join the community. And it just allows that ball to kind of start rolling with people because they made the first move. And this is just one post. Could you imagine if every post was like that? You'd never have to worry about it again. So it makes sense to take time and get this right. Now, I look, not all of my posts go this well, right? So I'm showing you a nice case study, but when you go smaller, it's just smaller results, but it's similar. So it's super, super important to do this. And you can then start to see, people who've viewed your profile since this post, and I could actually work through this analysis and start to actually connect and message if they're the right sort of people. Just being on it. So having this post strategy is super, super important, right? Gary's saying, where can you add the booking link in the post underneath the profile link? So I'll just quickly show you that in terms of the premium. You need to be paying for LinkedIn. So it's either you have Sales Navigator like me, or you have not the LinkedIn Premium. You'll know if you do by this gold LinkedIn piece here. And you simply go to the little edit button here, and you will go into this pop-up, and you work down the pop-up right to the end, premium custom button, edit custom button. It's not very clear, is it? And then you can choose. So visit my store, visit my website, view my portfolio, view my blog, book an appointment, or view my newsletter. I would love it if they just allowed us to actually write what we want to have for our premium, for our button, but it doesn't. It wants to be one of those. And so I go for view my newsletter because it's the least friction. And someone who read my post may well then want to go on to actually read the newsletter. And so from that, I can then start to messaging conversation with them. Cool. Like it. So hopefully that's been of help. So when you get, oh, we won't go on to that just yet. So when you get the ability to actually have a number of these things working well, and you set up your profile like a landing page, so you can see those 1,500 views went to my profile, and my profile then says, let's audit your LinkedIn profile for free. That's my call to action. And from that, then your hope is that people can go down, they'll check you out, see a bit more of your content, hit my features section where I can go, hey, here's my LinkedIn newsletter, or why don't you have a free LinkedIn profile audit? Okay. And if you haven't got your LinkedIn profile set up like this, and there's a lot of nuance around it in terms of the headline and the header and the way it works, then you should definitely try and get this thing set up in a focused way around your call to action. And if your call to action is value based and helpful, like ours is, then you will get sales. You'll get people booking. You get one-to-ones, and from those one-to-ones, you get to meet more people. Meeting more people may lead to something. May lead to partnerships. May lead to something else. So that's the game plan. What I'm going to do is I just want to take a couple of bits because I can see there's some chat. I want to take a bit of feedback and thoughts and questions from you guys. And then what we can do is we can actually split into some breakout rooms, get a few more questions, and come back. So that's what we're going to do. So before we do that, I'll take Gary and Sue's question, and then we'll do breakout room and get some further ideas, and you can discuss what you've seen today with each other, and then we'll come back at the end and discuss the final ideas. Before I do, guys, before I do take these questions, I want to just with this profile audit here, if you're seeing stuff on your LinkedIn profile that doesn't feel and look as kind of well structured and well strategically set up as what I've just presented to you, take us up on this free LinkedIn profile audit. Honestly, it's a free profile audit. It's a one-to-one. We go through and share screens and look at your audit and we look at your profile totally for free. And all you need to do is just jump onto this link. I'm going to stick this into the chat here, and we can go through it. So that's in the chat there. They're limited. Crikey, they are limited. Look at that. So you've only got a few left here, guys. So this is Monday and Tuesday next week, and there's a few left. This will look different if you're in a different time zone. It'll do it. I know this looks like quite a lot, but actually they will get snapped up. So if you haven't had one of these yet, it's in the chat now, and I would recommend you get in there before all of those get snapped up. Gary, over to you. Question.
Uh, Excuse me, sorry about that. Thanks, Richard. I actually have two parts to this. The first is, I guess, it's it's interesting. I've signed up to you guys obviously over the last month or two, and have a VA now, which is starting to take shape. And I guess that it's a case of a behavior or a mindset thing in terms of releasing a little bit. And it's really good to see that my VA is actually communicating now and doing the direct messages. And even on the call, I can see messages going through, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking at the same time. But I guess that it's great to see that. I am a little bit concerned, and maybe it's just me that I'm expecting quicker results, and I need to give this a little bit of time, in terms of booking more value session appointments. So that's the first part, and it's more of an observation more than anything else. And I guess your feedback there would be greatly appreciated. And then I have a question which is directly linked to that then as well.
Yeah, great. So in terms of those questions and doing a deep analysis, because what I'd do is I'd dive onto your account and have a look at what's going on. That's for the $1 million sprint track session. So
Okay,
so not
fine.
right for this session. But just a few things. The reason why value sessions need to be reviewed is it right? So where you can see I talk about LinkedIn stuff, and so therefore my value session one-to-one is to do a LinkedIn free profile audit because it totally makes sense.
Mm.
So is your content actually very aligned to the value session? So this is sort of things to think about, and we can go into more detail when we're doing it. So if you are talking about subject X, is your value session really aligned to subject X? And it's a no-brainer for someone to say yes, yeah, why not? I'd have some more free value from that. So that's what I would say. So maybe it's going back and just analyzing, is the stuff that I'm talking about very much aligned to that?
Is that something that I do then in MDS separately with you guys?
Yeah. So we at $1 Million Sprint, we've got the 5 track sessions a week. This is the LinkedIn for Breakfast
Sorry, okay.
session. So this is the only session of the week that we don't go deep on that.
Okay.
And the
The,
next
the,
question.
the, the next piece to that was actually um, I've added the link on my LinkedIn profile, and I'm paying for premium, so I can see the link on my profile. But interestingly, when I go to the post, I can see the link there. And when I went in to edit, as you were doing there, it wasn't giving me the option to add that link to my posts. So I just need to investigate that. But my question is this, that because I'm doing a value session and because I'm trying to get people to book and schedule a time with me, if I'm using that as a link to a calendar as the main link, um, if that's being used on all of my posts, it could be kind of confusing for someone just to click on any post and see that link, and it's bringing them directly to a calendar. Should it not be a link going to a kind of a landing page or something like that first,
What with
if
the
that
with
makes
the,
sense?
yeah, potentially. I'm just trying to find you. I'm strange. I'm sure we're connected. Why can I not see you? Hmm. Is it a slightly different name you've got for your
Uh,
profile?
no, Gary Neville. Maybe type OG after it, maybe.
Okay.
There you go.
Isn't that interesting? It doesn't come up if I don't promote
Mm.
OG. Um, so so you don't have, so this is not the link. So you've got a website link here. You don't have a custom button. So this link is not right. That's everybody can have this link. So this is
Ah,
the link in your profile. So when you go and set this up, you need to go into this and scroll all the way to the bottom of this. Don't fill in the current website link, and it gives a custom button. So just go into here, go all the way down to premium custom button, and then edit custom button.
okay.
And that's where
Thank
you
you.
go. No worries.
Thanks.
Good stuff. Sue, very quickly, and then we'll go into a quick breakout room. Go for
Yeah,
it.
it's just a quick question. You were asking our opinion about hashtags. I think it would be probably more important to know what your opinion about using hashtags is now, in light of
I think
you.
I think we've been coming away from doing lots of hashtags to three. But I've always liked it because it gives keywords, but ultimately people aren't searching. The reason why you do hashtags is so your content gets found when people look for content on the
Yes,
platform.
yes.
But who tries to like search for content on LinkedIn? It just isn't a thing. It's not like Google. We don't try and search for it. And so that's why it's sort of less relevant. And actually, if you try and pack a load of keywords in, it looks a bit spammy. So I would not worry so much about trying to do the traditional SEO type work of having keywords and putting them into posts. I would just write the post completely naturally and leave those at the front door.
Okay,
So
so no hashtags or a couple?
yeah, no hashtags.
No
I don't
hashtags.
think it's relevant. The one that I did really well on didn't have any hashtags on there, as you know. So, and the example I just gave you didn't have that.
Right, okay, lovely. Thank you, Richard. Oh,
Cool.
nice
Good.
shirt, by the way.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. I'm feeling summary. So I'm going to stick this into breakout rooms. The reason why we love to do these breakout rooms, it's great for you guys to meet each other, download a few of these ideas. Some of the questions you might have could actually be answered within those breakout rooms. Probably only about five or six of you in each room. And then we're only going to do it for 5 minutes. We're going to come back at the end. We're going to share a few ideas, and then we'll close for today. If you are shooting off, remember to book your quick strategy session before we meet everybody else. Do click on that and have that open in a tab so you can do that. And welcome. If you're watching this on a replay, we're going to stop the recording now and wish you all a happy replay watching. Right.